What's up? Welcome to the Fast Break. Dan Carp, Danny Nolan, no Andrew Beaton. He didn't make it to the studio, ladies and gentlemen. You would think he would make it for our third preview of the Duke UNC game.
Have we done this show before?
I think so. We had snow. We had a little bit of a delay in that game, about a week long. We talked about matchups for about, an aggregate of about 10 minutes. But let's talk much less about UNC in this one. Let's focus on Duke. The last couple of games, specifically their losses, they've had one trend in particular. Big scoring droughts, and it's really killed them in these road games.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that game against Wake Forest Wednesday night. They were cruising. They, after a slow start, were starting to put it together. They were up 7 points. They looked like they were a couple buckets away from putting away an easy victory, and all of a sudden, the wheels fall off. They go ice cold, and then Wake Forest, 17-0 run in the last 5 minutes of a basketball game on the road against a Wake Forest team that's not very good, by the way. They're ranked 12th in the conference.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. I've never seen a team with as much offensive firepower as Duke has right now that just has a knack for just going silent late in these games. I mean, you look, it's happened before. It happened on the road at Notre Dame. It happened on the road at Clemson. It happened on the road at North Carolina a few weeks ago. And it's just something that this team cannot afford to do in any setting, whether it's a regular season game, an ACC tournament game, or an NCAA tournament game, if they expect to be national champions.
And usually something for this Duke team, Dan, has been they've done so well on neutral courts that their tournament resume actually looks pretty good. This year a little different. They've played well in neutral court games, but can't get the win against Kansas, can't get the win against Arizona. A bad Alabama team took them down to the wire there in the second half. Do you think that's going to make a difference here for this Duke team? Maybe not for the ACC tournament, obviously, but for a tournament resume going for a 2-seed or a 3-seed.
I mean, it would definitely have helped them if they were to notch a couple of wins against teams that are probable #1 seeds now in Kansas and Arizona. But November games don't really play too heavily into the implications of March. Obviously, there would have been good resume wins to have, but at the same time, I think the biggest thing for Duke's tournament resume now is how they fare in the coming week in the matchup against North Carolina, close out the regular season, and then looking ahead to next week's ACC tournament. If you can sweep the ACC tournament and win that, that's where you put Duke back in potential contention for a #1 seed if some other things happen near the top of the rankings.
And when you look at this matchup Saturday against North Carolina, we've already talked about it a lot. I brought it up at the beginning of the show. But the guy they're going to have to slow down in the second half, something they did not do last time, is Marcus Paige.
And Marcus Paige, he's just dynamite. There's like really no other way to say it. I mean, I don't know if you watched the second half of his game against NC State when he and TJ Warren put on an absolute clinic. But this guy just knows how to take over a game late, and he's someone that they are going to have to key on, and it's going to come from a lot of different places on the perimeter. It's going to come from Tyler Thornton. It's going to come from Rasheed Suleiman. Quinn Cook is going to have to apply that ball pressure if they're going to stop Marcus Paige. And then, most importantly, it's going to come from the help side. It's going to come from whichever big guy is going to be sliding from the post to help on Marcus Paige when he's driving the lane, whether that's a Rodney Hood, Jabari Parker, or Marshall Plumlee. It's going to take a total team effort to stop this guy because he's just been so good in the second half of games.
And something that actually is maybe very important to follow here is foul trouble has been the big problem on the road for these teams. Syracuse foul trouble, a big problem. UNC on the road, big problem. Wake Forest was a big problem earlier this week. That's something to keep an eye on, especially in the post. So when you look forward, though, at these defensive players, Tyler Thornton is someone you already mentioned. It's senior night this Saturday night in Cameron. It's going to be great. You have Andre Dawkins, Josh Harrison, Tyler Thornton, even a guy like Todd Zafarowski who has been here, it seems like, forever at this point. But when you look at this Saturday's game, how much of an impact do you think these four guys actually have on the game?
I mean, this is a senior class for Duke that's obviously played less of a role on the court and more of a role off the court in terms of their leadership and their organizational facilitation in the program. But I would say that these are guys that on senior night, the emotions are running high, and some people rise to it, and other people get crushed under the weight of it. So these are people that could definitely have an impact on the game Saturday. If you look at a guy like Andre Dawkins, his first couple of threes go in front of the camera crazies on senior night. You don't think he's going to try to get up for that game?
I wonder if it's going to come off.
Tyler Thornton has a great history of playing against North Carolina. He was huge last year in that game. And a guy like Josh Harrison, you never know what type of hustle plays, what types of minutes you're going to get to see from him. Todd Zafarowski, maybe we'll hope to see him at the end of the game if the score is a little bit lopsided, but I don't know how much he's going to be impacting on it. Overall, the senior class, not as big when it comes to their presence on the court this year. However, senior night, anything goes.
Anything goes indeed. Rivalry game. We've talked about UNC 1,000 times at this point, Dan. This Saturday, last regular season game, senior night, leading up to the ACC tournament. Who wins, Duke or UNC?
You know, I like to think back a few weeks in the regular season about what's going to happen. I think that we saw a few weeks ago that Duke went across the state of North Carolina to play against an in-state rival. They suffered a huge drought in the second half, and then in a very short turnaround that weekend, they faced a ranked team at home, and they won. Those teams, of course, back then were North Carolina and Syracuse. This week, they went on the road to an in-state rival. They lost at Wake Forest. They're hosting a ranked team in another rivalry game this weekend in North Carolina. I see history repeating itself. I've got the Blue Devils in this one, 80-66.
It should be a lot of fun, a lot of firepower between those two teams, between the Tar Heels and the Blue Devils. So, for Dan Carp, I'm Danny Nolan. We'll see you guys in camera.